Once you reach the top of the peak, there's no going back down to the valley. If you're new, my name is Nick. I'm an autistic adult sage, otomancer, insert title here, and other such labels to make one feel less inferior, less unworthy, I suppose, even though they can easily get rid of those illusions whenever they want. But yeah, the point of this video is just to say, once you reach the peak of the mountain of knowing yourself, who you are, what you want, in constant communication with your higher self, understanding yourself through the mirrors of other people, what they mirror back to you, constant relationship with yourself in that regard, and you'll realize there's no going back to the Valley of Fools. All the stuff that the mind used to indulge in, whether it was addictions, video games, sensuality, all that stuff. The stuff that people willingly bind themselves to with the idea that it will make them free. Just think about that for a minute. The mind actually thinks that binding itself to these addictions, it will feel like it is free. Of course, from the peak, it doesn't make any sense, but when you're in the jungle and the valley, anything that makes you feel good just to escape what's in front of you. But yeah, once that awareness hits, once that awareness of yourself hits, and you realize the natural state of things, there's no going back. It's permanent. It's permanent. And then from that point on, it becomes a fight with the mind to convince it that you can't go back to the same things that you were doing, because at this point, you know it's false. You know it's just an illusion. And the mind, of course, wants to go into denial because it can do that. We have our conscious, subconscious, unconscious split. But denial is just stemming the inevitable of facing the reality of now. And there is an immense bliss knowing that these illusions are just that. And of course, desire itself is just, it's neutral. Without it, this reality wouldn't exist. I mean, you had a desire to manifest in the first place. It's the attachments and aversions that are created with these desires that make life a living hell. And these attachments and aversions are based on fear. So once one understands that fear is something that you can just simply walk through and realize that itself is just an illusion, that fear itself lives in time. It lives in the past, perhaps from previous experience. It lives in the future, as in, what if this happens? The doom scrollers. But it doesn't live in the now. It doesn't live in the eternal moment. It cannot live there. Only love lives in the eternal moment. And that's how you create reality. And all the people in the valley are still stuck in the brambles of fear and living in the past time and the future time, not the present time. When they start living the present time, they can start climbing the mountain of self-knowing. The farther they go up, the more difficult it is to speak with the rest of the human race. And of course, depending on your soul path, perhaps your path will go only up a certain distance. Maybe you're meant to help people in the valley. Maybe you're meant to go up higher. That's between you and your higher power. But once you get closer to the peak, it becomes far more difficult to speak to the people on the bottom. The words become more garbled. It becomes much more difficult to comprehend what's being spoken from the top to the bottom. At least I can still make videos now at this moment in time. But yeah, denial sucks. We're all only human anyway, so having a human experience, we all have to deal with it. So let's just forgive ourselves because, well, we're all in a human body. We didn't make this body. Whatever, The body is just doing what it thinks is going to make it happy and make it feel good. That's what it thinks it can do. That's what it thinks it's the right thing to do. It doesn't understand anything beyond that, so that's easily forgivable. I didn't program it. I didn't engineer it. So, that's how it is. Going to these new vibrations here on Earth, it becomes more and more obvious how grossly programmed the human body is, so it becomes easier to forgive after a while. But that's just my point of view. Well, anyway, I just wanted to throw that warning out there. That sure, you can know yourself more and more, but after a while, it becomes harder and harder to go back to the valley. That's been my experience, anyway. Yeah, and an update about my health. Some videos ago, I was speaking about how I pulled my back. It was like a couple weeks ago, and thankfully I've started to walk again. It's now actually mostly healed. There's some more muscles in the back and my right hip that needs to be healed a little bit more, so walking is still a little bit slow, but thankfully the worst of it's over, and I still am looking back on it and being thankful for the health that I have and the knowledge that I am able to share with those who are able to receive it. Of course, I wish more would be able to receive it, maybe in the future. But I am kind of a intimidating being, so if not directly received, most of the time it will be indirectly received, soul-to-soul transmission, telepathically, so on. Okay, well, that's it for this one. Thank you for watching. I hope you got something out of it. And have a good day. Take care.